Broadcasting from Silicon Valley, California, this is Conversations with Jennylyn.
You're watching Conversations with Jennylyn, and my guest tonight is not a stranger to this series. He has already appeared on this show during this COVID interview series, but by popular demand, I've decided to bring him back sooner rather than later because people loved the positivity that came through in his interview. Not that my other interviews weren't positive, but people like the message that he left with us. And so his name is Ricardo Aguilar. He calls himself the positive man, and I think based on my interactions with him, he is really a positive man. And he's also the author of the book, The Positive Truth About Humanity.
That's
Ricardo,
right.
welcome back to
Hi, Jenny.
Jennylyn.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be back with you. Thank you so much for having me. Hello to everybody.
Well, good. You know, I was really overwhelmed with the reactions I got on your video. I've done over, I think, close to 62 videos to date since I've begun this series, but people really liked what you had to say.
Thank you very
And so
much.
tonight, it's going to be a continuum because I'm sure they want to hear more wisdom from you and whatever else you can share with them. So welcome back, and I guess we can start off. Where do you want to start?
You know, the last time that we spoke, we were talking about the fact that we live in a time-space reality that is governed by laws, both physical, universal, and spiritual laws. So I want to keep touching a little bit more on those laws that have been kept from humanity for thousands of years for the purpose of us discovering it ourselves. You know, ultimately, I want people to understand that we are literally in a game that souls play. Because after all, the positive truth is that we are eternal, divine, beautiful souls that come from the same God source energy, and that we have all of eternity to play and to evolve our souls into a higher level of consciousness by coming here on earth and living out different types of experiences, life experiences that we have designed ourselves before coming to earth. So it's kind of like you go to college, and when you go to college, you know what you're going to major in. And so therefore you're going to choose the curriculum that is designed to give you that expertise, that consciousness that you're going to need to then be able to say, I graduated with this major and I have this knowledge. And so there's a purpose for every class that you take to ultimately fulfill your expectations of what it is to major in. Say, for example, I majored in Latin American studies in UCLA. And so therefore I had a chance to learn about the history, geography, you know, geology, you name it, about Latin American countries. And so after I graduated with a bachelor's in Latin American countries, Latin American studies, I had a very good understanding of the struggles and the history of every single Latin American country and how it was influenced throughout the ages by the old world, which is the European continent. So therefore, the same thing can be said about this life experience. There are different virtues that we souls strive to achieve. And those virtues are compassion, forgiveness, patience, understanding, all that good stuff that you don't just all of a sudden wake up and now you're compassionate. Nothing can ever be achieved through that spontaneous, you know, way. It has to be achieved through experiences. And each experience that we design is intended to do just that. So if you're come here to learn what compassion is, rest assured that you're going to see a lot of turmoil. You're going to have a lot of opportunities to practice that compassion. The same thing with patience. If you want to become more patient, you're going to go through a lot of, situations that are going to test you, and they're going to, put you to the test so that you can practice. So it's just like when you go to the gym and you want to work on a certain muscle. And so your coach or your trainer will say, okay, well then you need to do 10 of these, 20 of those, 50 of those every single day for about 2 months. But then you should see the results. In other words, you have to go into the gym and start tearing some muscles. And what that means here on earth is, before coming to earth on a soul level, because we're all one, we have different soul contracts and agreements. And so different souls will agree to come here and play that role and be that experience for you to help you grow. And so we do that for each other. Sometimes we are the difficult person in somebody's life. Other times we encounter difficult people in our lives. But the intention and the reason for that is to go to the gym, is to practice those virtues. And so I want people to really understand that that's how life works, that nothing here on earth happens by chance. Everything is designed by you before coming to earth in a blueprint, if you will, with major events that are meant to happen whether you like it or not. And it's your ability to navigate your consciousness in that period of time between one event and the other, making the right decisions, learning the lessons, and becoming more of what you want to become, which is either more compassionate or more forgiving or more patient. And when that event happens in your life, if you have done your homework, your spiritual homework, if you have kept up with your spiritual hygiene, and you have learned your lessons, when that event comes, that's going to be your final, your test. If you pass that and you overcome that obstacle or that, circumstance, that tragedy, whatever it is that you designed for yourself, well, then you move up to the next level and you keep growing and growing and growing until the next one. So it's really your ability to make choices on a daily basis that are going to determine whether you're going to be prepared for these major events in life or not.
So let me ask you, if that is true, and I've heard this before, and really it makes a lot of sense, because so many questions have crossed my mind, like when innocent children die, or a baby comes and lives 2 days and then dies. I've often wondered about that. So if what you're saying is true, then it would make sense, because they came to fulfill a very short contract.
Absolutely.
So that would explain why they had such a short time on the earth plane. But right. What I want to ask you, and this is a question that I've been pondering, because I've listened to many people who share your philosophy. Why do we forget when we get here what we agree to come here to do? Because clearly, if everybody remembered, I'm sure some people do, I've had déjà vu, a lot of it. But for people who don't, why is it that when you get to the earth plane, you don't remember the contract you agreed to come here for, to fulfill?
Well, because then it wouldn't be fun. That's not the challenge. We came here to be challenged. And if your soul chose to come to earth, rest assured that you felt like, I can do this. I got this. I'm going to go down there, and I know that I'm going to, pass all these tests. And each series of events in your life is designed to jolt you back into memory. So if you play your game right and you learn your lessons, you're guaranteed to be jolted back into consciousness, into your purpose in life. But if you struggle and you play the victim when things start happening, well, then you're not learning, and you're not in your line, and you're not aligning with your life path, if you will. And so then synchronicities are meaningful, coinciding moments that are designed by you to let you know that you're on the path, that you're getting closer. You're synchronizing yourself with your purpose. So if you're living on earth and you're not experiencing meaningful coincidences, then you're completely lost and you're not anywhere near where you're supposed to be in life. And
So,
yes.
sorry, I thought you were finished. Go ahead.
Well, no, and so therefore, we agreed to forget with the purpose of going through life experiences in hopes to remember. And then eventually, because, many people do discover their dreams and their passion and why they're here, but not enough. And that's because the matrix, the divine matrix, has been corrupted, because there are evil rulers and principalities that have ruled this, world for so long that is their sole purpose. It is to.
I was going to interrupt you to ask you, because I don't want to forget to ask you this question. So forgive the interruption.
No problem.
Would you say then that the three-dimensional people are the people that have forgotten and that don't ever achieve the contract or accomplish what they agreed to when they come to the earth?
When you say three-dimensional people, what
dark,
exactly?
People who are dark. People who choose the dark side.
Well, they actually have taken on that role to be the pressure. Because like I said, every single organism here on Earth has been designed and created to evolve. But evolution is a choice. You have to choose to evolve. And the only way to choose to evolve is to be placed in a situation of life or death, of dire straits, where you cannot continue to live like this. You have to evolve. You have to change the way you think. You have to change the way you speak and treat others, because the way that you've been doing it just doesn't work anymore. And it gets to a point where you just get to the point where you just had it. No more. That's it. You've had enough experiences, enough negativity. And then that's when people hit rock bottom. And when they hit rock bottom, then they look up. And whoever is there, whether it be the Mormons, whether it be the Christians or the Catholics or spirits or what have you, somebody's going to be there to help you look up towards a higher purpose, a higher being, if you will. And if you learn to change the way that you think and feel about yourself, then the laws of the universe begin to work for you. And what you need, the greatest thing to do, is to develop self-worth. Some way, somehow, once you hit rock bottom, you feel worthless. Trust me, because I've been there. But once you hit rock bottom, you can't go any further down. So you go up. And if you begin to really feel, how should I say, authentic about your past and accepting it and really feeling like, you know what, I messed up. Owning your, pardon my French, shit. Once you own it, once you understand that it was you who put yourself in that downward, then once you take that ownership, and then you can choose to say, I no longer choose to live that same way. And then you start changing your thinking process, your consciousness. You start becoming more positive, more loving, and then you start exercising that. If you do that, the laws of the universe will reflect that back to you, and that will be your new creation. And once you start tasting that the laws of the universe are working for you, then you see that God is there for you, that things are now finally working out for you. And so you never are going to go back to the old ways, because now you know that you're getting better. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. So what about the people who come here and life got so tough for them, although it's a contract they agreed to based on what you're saying, but they just couldn't handle it and they timed out before God took them away from the planet, as in they committed suicide? What happens with those people?
Well, from what I've learned on my research, they're not punished. They don't go to hell, but they have to come back. They have to do it over again, basically. And my understanding is, once you exit this time-space reality, you regain full consciousness of who you are, why you went there, and everything. It's almost like you go, oof, glad that's over. But immediately then, you are going to be met with spiritual guides, people that are more advanced in their soul journey, to help and guide you, to help you reflect on that particular life experience, and help you understand where you went wrong and why. And if you hurt people, then you agree to come back and make things right, because your consciousness is accumulative. Every life experience is in your consciousness. You can never lose that, and no one can ever take away your experiences, your consciousness. And so, because time doesn't exist, it's just an illusion here in this time-space reality, then for us to say, you know what, I'm going to go back and relive this life and do that wrong and do better again, it's just like a blink of an eye, like the Bible says. You know, for God, 85 years is just a blink of an eye. And so we're okay with coming back here and doing it over again, because we know that it is temporary. We know that it's for our own good. And we want to continue to evolve our soul. And we cannot get stuck just from one life experience, knowing that we're going to be here for all of eternity, having one after the other, whether it be here on earth or any other time-space reality that exists in the universe. And so therefore, it is important to understand that karma is very real. So sooner or later, you're going to pay that back. And so oftentimes what's happening here on earth, when you see people suffering in such a great way, perhaps they're paying back some karma. Perhaps they themselves did that to someone else, and now they have to experience it for themselves so that they can understand what they did to that other person, or to this group of people, or to this particular race. Now, my understanding is also that if you live a life of judgment and you judge a certain race, rest assured, you will come back and live in that race so that you can understand 100%. It's because, you know, that's the only way that you can learn.
So then so what you've just said now leads me to this next question. If you, and you know, it's all making a lot of sense, but how does this line up with what we're taught through the various religious sectors, through, you know, all these different religious organizations that teach something, that teach punishment, punishment, punishment? I mean, you are debunking things that we have been taught since we were aware of ourselves. If you're good, you're going to go to heaven. If you're bad, you're going to burn and die. I'm so happy you explained what you did about suicide, because I have lots of close friends who've had loved ones commit suicide, and they're suffering because they are buying into the philosophy that if you kill yourself, you're going to burn in hell for eternity or whatever. You don't see God, you don't go to the light. So I am happy to hear you say this. And to be honest with you, I was also raised and taught everything that I just mentioned. But very, very long ago in my life, it wasn't adding up. So I stopped giving energy to it. Right. I really believe what you're saying. You're like the fifth person I've encountered over the last 6 months that is saying what you're saying verbatim. Yes. So
energy flows where attention goes. Wherever you give your attention, that's where the energy is going to go. And so things in your life are either getting good, better, or they're getting bad, worse, or you're fluctuating in between and you're in limbo and you're not accomplishing anything on earth. And sometimes you have good days and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you feel like a nut and sometimes you don't, you know. And so the important thing to remember is that energy is energy. And we're here to learn how to manipulate energy, how to use energy. We are energy beings. You recall Tom Palladino, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's why his scalar light scanner works, because it's all about energy, and we're made of energy. Therefore, energy is what is going to help our bodies grow, not pharmaceutical, not drugs. But of course, we've been led to believe that because we have been kept in the dark about the secrets of the universe. It has become what they call the occult. And so now, here's
Well, you're not going to be a popular person.
I'm sorry. Listen, I'm here to speak the positive truth.
Right.
And for those who have ears, let them hear. And eventually they're going to understand that the rulers of this world are evil. Look at what they're doing right now. Okay, there's a spiritual battle that Jesus even warned us about. We are not fighting against flesh and blood, but against the rulers and the principalities.
Yes, and I know that to be true. I've experienced that.
Yes, and so I remember, you guys, you have to understand that I came from a Catholic family. My family's still very Catholic. I love them to death. I love them. My grandmother was the most God-fearing woman, and she instilled the love of God in all of our family. My family, I hate to, toot my own horn, but the Aguilars are the most amazing family in the world, I think, in the universe, because we're so passionate, we're so loving, we're so united. We are teachers, we are engineers, and it was all because of our grandmother who instilled the love of God. But for me, I had a different purpose here on earth. I see that now. And therefore, I left the Catholic Church, and then I found Jesus Christ. He saved me 2 to 3 times when I hit rock bottom. And I was going to church. I was a Christian father. I went to the LA Church of Christ and for many years. And I, tried to instill the same love of God to my children. I would have Bible, studies in the morning. I would take them. It was a big struggle. And then things started happening to me. And 2009, when the economy crashed, okay, remember that one? When the bankers stole $700 billion from us? Well, that incident was the impetus of many other people's journeys. And for me, it was the impetus of my journey of becoming positive man, the most positive man in the universe. Because of that incident, my life went like this.
So I must ask you, you named yourself the most positive man of the universe. What if someone is watching this show thinking, well, who the hell does he think he is? I am not a very positive man also.
Trust me, I know. And I realize that that's something that I'm going to, be faced with. That's a pretty high bar to say.
Yeah,
but
why did you put yourself there?
You know why? Because of who I am and what I'm here to do for humanity. Mm-hmm. And what happened was that as I was learning, when I woke up on 11/11/11 at 1:11 p.m. after signing the contract with the city of LA, whose address is 111 First Street. I don't know if you remember my story.
Yes.
But that's how I woke up. And from that point on, I was led to one video, to the other. And then one day, I discovered the sacred knowledge of vibrations in water. People, you can YouTube that, the sacred knowledge of vibrations in water. Dr. Emoto, are you familiar with Dr. Emoto's work?
Yes.
Okay, that's when I discovered and realized that thoughts are vibrations, that everything is vibrating, resonating, and that our thoughts are so powerful that it had the ability to affect water, the molecular structure of water, in either a positive or a negative way. And he proved that with the fact that in one of the bottles that he wrote, I love you, or thank you, he froze that water, he froze a droplet, and then he studied under a very small microscope. And then he discovered that the droplet would crystallize into a beautiful crystal like a snowflake. But that if he would set negative intentions and say, I hate you, and did the same thing, it would look ugly. It would not take any shape or form.
Isn't that something?
It is absolutely mind-boggling. And also water has memory. Water is the most incredible source, the incredible element that gives life. And it has memory. And if you look at that video, he demonstrates when he puts different flowers inside a glass of water, okay? And he then did the same thing, studied a droplet, and saw that in that droplet was the image of the flower that it was dipped in. That's pretty incredible. So then at the end of the show, he says, our bodies are made of more than 70, 80% water. so is the earth. And so therefore, if our thoughts have the ability to affect water, the molecular structure of water in a positive or negative way, can you imagine how we are affecting each other since our bodies are made of mostly water? And so then I realized, wow, I cannot believe. Now I understood why I went down like this, because my thoughts were way off. I was thinking negatively. I was playing the victim. I was blaming everybody for my problems. I was talking about my problems. I was posting about my problems. And so the law of the universe, the law of attraction, was just bringing me more and more and more and more and more until I hit rock bottom. So I understood what was my mistake. And then I said, oh, wow, I cannot believe that this is real. And I said to myself, you know what? That's it. I'm never going to think a negative thought again. I'm going to become positive. And then there was a time where I had read or heard a video about why I woke up and that I was here on a very important mission. And I was like, wow, I'm going to be a superhero, I thought, you know? So then all that together, I realized I'm going to become positive man. Yeah, I'm going to become positive man, the most positive man in the world. And then I go, no, wait a second. Someone already has that. I think it's the most interesting man in the world. And I thought, I don't want to compete with him. I'll just become the most positive man in the universe. Yeah, that's it. And so then that's what happened. I just chose to.
How long ago was this?
Oh, this was back in 2013 or something like that. You know, it took a while to research. And the fact that I chose to come here and work for the city of LA, you see, it could not have happened any other way. Let me explain to you why. It is very difficult, the way the world is structured right now, to devote thousands of hours to research when you have bills to pay and you have a job to fulfill, right? But what about when you find a job that you can literally get paid to listen to thousands and thousands of hours of research? So in the job that I manifested in the city of LA, it is as a materials testing technician, and I work in a lab testing materials. And so there was a point in time where I was able to put on headphones every single day for 8 hours, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, for at least 3 years, thousands upon thousands of hours of research, of one video to the other, to the other, to the other, until that day that I learned about the sacred knowledge of vibrations and water. And so then that's when I chose to embody the character of positive man, the most positive man of the universe. And from that point on, I told myself, that's who I am, that's who I want to be, and I will work as hard as I can to achieve that, because I believe that I have now enough information and knowledge that I want to share with the world. And that's the reason why after thousands and thousands of hours, it's here.
We can't really see the book because of your background.
Oh, sorry about that. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can see it there.
Okay, but you've seen my book before. My point is this. In this book.
We can't see it again.
Okay, in that book, I want you to understand, it is thousands and thousands of hours that I have invested in a lab, listening to all this knowledge, to then be able to put it into a book for everyone else. So it's almost like you are to taste the best gourmet restaurants in the world. Imagine what that would take to go and explore the world and taste the best gourmet foods from every culture and every country. Is that feasible for anybody?
No.
No, it's not. The same thing. It's not feasible. And the matrix is designed to cause fear and confusion. So the last thing you want to do is research this type of information, because you're so consumed with bills, with maybe sports, maybe movies, whatever, you know, suits your fancy, you know what I mean? But it's basically distraction. And so now I understand that the only way that I could have achieved the knowledge that I have is to work in a lab for the city of LA, where I got paid to listen to all this knowledge and put it all together in a book. And so this is what you're getting in my book.
You know, I have seen 11:11 and 1:11 every day for the last 2 months.
That's right.
And you and I talked about this. And
Yes, we
since
did.
our interview, this has continued.
Yes.
What am I being told? I'm confused. I don't know what to do with it.
Well, this is what you need to do. When you are faced, and this is for anybody else out there,
Right.
when you are faced with 11:11 or 1:11, when you're just automatically prompted for no reason, take a special precaution of your thoughts, because the universe is taking a snapshot of your thoughts and manifesting them into your reality rather quickly. So only think about what you want and make sure you know what you want. So by now, your life experiences were designed to cause you to want a better life. Once you have determined what that better life is, you need to stop focusing on what caused it. The problem that majority of the world make is they get stuck in the past, in what life has caused them to desire. And they get caught up in blaming, finding faults, becoming a victim, when what you should do is face the other way and say, universe, I am ready for my heaven, because we literally carve our heaven out of hell. And so we have to go through the hell to understand what our heaven looks like. That's just the way this universe works. You cannot know what you like until you know what you don't like. And so that is what we design for ourselves. These experiences that are going to be harsh, but that are designed to cause you to desire the opposites. And so it's bouncing off the law of attraction is really what it's all about, is that you have to design certain experiences that you know are going to cause you to desire the opposites. And so every time you go through a negative experience, you have to ask yourself, am I lower than this experience, or am I higher than this experience? And so most people choose lower, which is becoming a victim, which is becoming resentful, which is becoming angry at whatever caused it. But if you understand, and this is why I feel that I need to bring the positive truth about humanity to people, is so that when people encounter these situations, they have to ask themselves, am I lower or higher? And you say, I'm higher. I'm going to overcome this and I'm going to grow. And so every negative experience causes you to go higher and higher and higher. But if you don't catch up to what life has caused you to become, then the gap is your suffering. That is where you're going to be disappointed. That is where you're going to be lost, because you already said you're higher than all these experiences. So then become that higher self, become that greater version, that improved version. And if you don't do that, then the gap is your suffering. And you need to learn to shorten that gap. And the more you shortened it, for the moment you get to this point and you become what life has caused you to become, now you're in alignment with your higher self, with your purpose. And now you're going to start experiencing synchronicities. That's when you experience synchronicities. I can tell you, because that is what I experienced myself. My gap was way, way like this. Once I started learning about all this universal knowledge and how life works and all this, and then applying it, I can see myself shortening that gap to the point where now I'm in full alignment with who I am, with what life has caused me to become, and my life's purpose. And I kid you not, maybe we'll leave this for the next interview, but I have a compilation of synchronicities that I've recorded, all of them, not all of them, because it would be way too much, but I could literally have hours of nonstop every day, how I was being led and communicated with my angels on this mission. It's quite fascinating. And that's going to be another book of mine. And,
Yeah.
and hopefully a movie. a movie about how my life story, because people need to really understand what happened to me, because it could happen to them. I am no one, I'm no different. I have the same mind as you, the same physical body. I just have a different purpose.
So we're out of time, but we're just scratching the surface.
Well, you're gonna have to have me back again, Jenny.
So here's what. I Googled this 11/11 thing because I'm like, why is my attention being drawn to it? And I didn't understand what Google said. So thank you. Maybe I will start manifesting the next chapter of my life.
Absolutely. Now, let me tell you something really quick about the reason things happen for a reason, okay? Let me show you something. I got to get my prop. So, things happen for a reason. And this happens for bigger reasons, my friend. But here's the problem. It's what you do when this happens that determines if you allow the reward or the positive to come in. But what do people do when this happens? They find out, who the heck did this? And blah, 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 and then they get upset. And guess what they do? They put it in their pocket instead of getting rid of it. And that's like holding resentment, grudges, and just negative experiences. They hold them in their mind. And it's just like you're putting it in your pocket. So then you go throughout your day, and when you remember what that girl did to you, or what that person said to you, and that made you feel really bad, it's like you're going like this. Yeah, I remember that shit. Man, I can't believe that person did that. And then you just find a different pocket or something, but you don't get rid of it. And so my message is to all of you is, when that happens, rest assured, stay positive. Learn from that experience. If you have to forgive, forgive. If you have to forget, forget. If you have to swallow some pride, swallow it. My greatest advice is, if you ever fall inside a pool of pride, the last thing you want to do is breathe. Just swallow, and you will stay positive. You know what I mean? If you fall in a pool of pride, don't try to breathe, just swallow. And then things will get better for you. And so today, I was at the store, 5:30. I was at the 99-cent store. And this is crazy. This is crazy because I was like, okay, I'm going to go and, I'm going to go take a shower. Everything's going to be great. And when I get out of the car, I hear the ding, ding, ding of my car. But I looked at the lights, nothing was on. I closed the door and I went inside. When I come back out, Jenny, I should have recorded this, but I didn't. When I come back out at about 5:35 and our meeting was at 6, I go to turn my car on and the battery's dead. And I'm thinking, what in the world? How can this happen? But then I said, wait. This had to happen for a reason. So I stayed positive. The person in front of me that was parked, I asked him for some jumper cables. He said, he was on the phone. He said, no. I'm like, okay. Then he leaves. Then I'm out there with my cables like this. And then this girl named Audrey passes by. She sees me and she says, do you need some help? I'm like, yes, come here. She pulls in there. She gives me a jump, okay? And guess what? I go, oh my God, you're such an angel. I can't believe it. You saved me. She said, I have an interview, I said, at 6 p.m. and I need to get to. And I said, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. She says, you know what? You're right. And she says, and then I gave her my book. And she says, oh my God, 11/11. I've been seeing 11/11 too, and 1/11. And every time that I see 1/11, I always call my boyfriend and blah, blah. And I go, well, there you go. Now you know why this happened to me, because you needed to have this book. And so now she has my book and she's going to follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, changed her life. And she helped me get back on the road and make it here to our meeting on time.
It's hard to just talk to you for 30 minutes because you're so inspirational. I know that there's so many people who are very close-minded. They don't even listen to anything outside of what they believe. And I feel badly for them because what they're actually doing is blocking their growth and blessings.
Oh, but their time will come.
But I know that God knows how to get us all when He really wants to get our ear. So hopefully, eventually, everybody will do what they're meant to do.
Exactly.
I know that we could go on forever.
Yes, we could.
It's really flies the time when I speak with you. And I just have a feeling you'll be a regular guest on Conversations with Jennylyn.
I would love to, Jenny. I really would. I'd love to inspire your followers. And by all means, please send me a friend request. Ricardo Ernesto Aguilar. Follow me on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, positive_man111. And I just recently built my new website, which is the project to help clean up LA. And it's www.cleanupla.info. And that's a website where you have the most positive professional business professionals. You can do your taxes there. You can buy real estate, you get a realtor, and also legal services, contractors, you name it. When you use those professional services, you are helping humanity because you are helping my mission to help clean up Los Angeles in the homeless problem. So that's also another good thing that I have going right now. And you can also buy my book through there as well, and soon to be on Amazon as well.
Well, Ricardo, God bless you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're clearly a messenger. So hopefully those who are meant to receive your message will.
Absolutely. Law of attraction will take care of that.
Absolutely. And again, thank you for taking time out. I know that you had a problem, but we were still able to do this. So,
It was meant.
It was meant to be. So anyway, I'm glad you blessed someone with your book today.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. I love you guys. Send you lots of love, positive energy, and always lots of prosperity.
And thank you so much for continuing to watch Conversations with Jennylyn. I hope that you are all learning from these segments and that you have an open mind so that you don't block your blessings. And Ricardo, thanks again.
All it takes is a little crack.
Right. And thank you for watching Conversations with Jennylyn, when a conversation is all you need to be inspired.